Hello everyone, it's Lindsay, and today I'm bringing a super fun mini album project for you guys using the newest collection from Felicity Jane. This is Amanda, and I recently went fishing with some friends of ours. My husband and I, our family, went up into the mountains, one of our favorite spots to go fishing, and had a ton of photos. And when I have a bunch of photos from one event like this, I like to kind of keep them all together if possible. So I've done traveler's notebooks, I've done different mini albums, and so this is going to be a little mini album that we're going to put together. I've already gone ahead and used a cut file to cut from this really beautiful floral paper from that Amanda collection. And what it does is it cuts like a little slit, has little score marks, and so then you can just fold it hot dog style. You do like push it together so it opens up that way, and then it makes a little booklet here. And then I'm actually going to flip it upside down, and I'm going to try to make these into little pockets. That way I can stick some of these cards down in there as journaling tags, because I want to have all my photos in here and then just have my journaling tucked away. The cut file also comes with this fun little belly band that wraps around and holds it closed, and then it has another little piece that layers on there. So I'll try to link this particular cut file down below for you guys. It's just from the Silhouette Studio store, but I know a lot of people have, a variety of electronic die cutting machines, and you could do something similar. I'm sure you could take this and hand cut it. I just don't know those measurements. It was meant to be cut on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, but I scaled it up to fit as much of the 12 by 12 as I could. That way I could get full, I think these photos are like 3 tall by 2.25 wide. So I wanted to, as big of photos as I could possibly get in there. So it also comes with a template to cut out these little rounded corner pieces. And it was just one to go on the front, but I went ahead and duplicated it and cut it out from a variety of the papers from Amanda. That way I could have tons of those fun papers on the inside of this little album backing my photos. So that was the prep work I did off camera. And then I will just be using a variety of the new stamps. They have all these great sentiments like outdoor adventure, summer state of mind, backyard camp out, perfect for documenting this recent excursion. I've got the puffy stickers. I may use some alpha stickers. I'm not sure. They're a little bit big for this project, so we'll just have to see. And then I have the washi tape because I'm going to create a little layered photo. And then I have the chipboard pieces and the die cut pieces to embellish everything with. So let me go ahead and put you guys on fast forward, and we will throw this mini album together. All right, so I'm going to start by kind of playing around with this main booklet piece to figure out where I need to add adhesive. If you weren't making pockets and things, you could probably just leave it as is, but I need to close off some areas. So I'm not really familiar with this cut file, so I was having to kind of play around and take a look. I ended up adding 2 strips of adhesive here to the edges, and then that's going to hold the majority of it together. And that's probably all you would need to do if you were doing this project without the tags. But it does kind of make it so that the booklet is difficult to open and close just because now, the paper can't move around. So you just need to play with it, figure it out. For the inside part here, I needed a bottom to one of these pockets. So I'm just using some liquid adhesive because it's in the center of that little slot there. I couldn't get my dry adhesive in there. And then that's going to give me multiple pages with 3 or 4 different pockets that I can use in that album. So I was going to go ahead and do the belly band, but I thought, nope, I need to wait in case I get this super chunky. That way I know how tight to make that. So we're going to start assembling things slowly but surely here. A lot of the times what you see in my videos for scrapbooking, and even Bible journaling, I have everything kind of laid out ahead of time. I have my embellishments picked out ahead of time. I kind of know where everything's going to go. But when I do a mini album like this or a giant project like this, that's not necessarily the case. So you're going to get to see a lot of my hemming and hawing and decision making and things like that. So I ended up going ahead and trimming off some of the white border that I left on my photos, just so they would fit on these cards a little bit better. And I'm going to start by figuring out what order I want my photos, and then going in and adding those little backer sheets. And all I'm doing is just kind of being mindful of, I don't want 2 pink papers next to each other. I want to kind of pay attention to the lights and darks of the photos that I'm adding on it as I decide what colors to use. And I just literally said I wouldn't put pink against pink, but these are 2 different shades of pink. One's a pattern, one's a not. So just, I don't play by the rules. And then I'm just going to use some dry adhesive. I'm making sure there's plenty on there to, you know, allow it to last over time, but I'm not going all crazy. You could get super, super crazy and, add a bunch of stitching details, stitch things down, use tiny attachers, and kind of go nuts with embellishment. I kept this project reasonably simple, just because I knew there were some other projects I wanted to do with this collection, so I didn't want to use up a lot of the collection. It was hot. I was pressed for time, so I'm just keeping it a little bit more simple today. That one landscape photo of my husband and I scaled down way small. And so I'm letting it sit there for a second while I decide what kind of embellishment I'm going to do. But I did want to include both of these photos. It's a photo of the lake when we first got there. And I just loved the lens flare and the sun on the water. It was just such a beautiful day. And then there were all of these dragonflies everywhere. I don't know that you'll be able to see that photo in the video. If you head on over to the Felicity Jane blog, you'll be able to see those in close up. But there was this dragonfly that had landed on my fishing pole, and I was able to get way up close and get a photo. So I wanted both of those in there. So I decided to create this kind of layered flip photo effect. And I'm adding one of the tabs to the top photo just to give you something to hold on to while you flip that photo up. But that also gave me the opportunity to use a little bit of that really adorable washi tape from the collection this month. The kit is sold out in its entirety, but there is still product individually available from the Amanda collection. So all of that will be linked down below for you guys. And at this point, I'm just trying out different embellishments, figuring out, what's going to look good. I don't want it too chunky and fluffy. So I'm trying to use more of the die cuts and less of the chipboard pieces just for the sake of this particular project. But this whole collection is perfect for my family. Every summer, not just summer, but primarily in summer, we are outdoor freaks. We are outdoors all the time. We are having such a hard time this year with COVID keeping us from camping and the national parks and all the things that we love to do. But there is this area up above us. It's about an hour above us. No cell phone service, no internet. It's amazing. It was so nice to get away from all that for the day. And they stock the lake once a week or the pond, I guess, once a week with trout. So you're almost guaranteed to catch something. So it's great for the kiddos. We went up with some friends of ours, and now all of our kiddos are about old enough that they can kind of do their own thing. They can bait their own hooks, fix their own problems, get their own snags out, reel in their own fish. They do it all on their own. So it really makes it nice to just go sit and relax. It's kind of amazing. So I pulled out the stamp set, and like I said, there are so many phrases on here that I'm going to be able to use in a billion projects with all of the photos that we take outside. So there's this one that says fresh air, and I'm going to stamp it onto one of those chipboard pieces. I am using archival ink just to make sure that it dries on the surface of that piece. And I usually hit it with my heat tool just to make sure that it's dry before I touch it or flip it over and add adhesive and that kind of thing. I'm also trying to be mindful of where I put my embellishments. So I'm wanting to balance out embellishments towards the top of these pages and towards the bottom of the pages. That way the book closes evenly and I don't have, big hefty chunk all at the bottom or all at the top, if that makes sense. So here I was starting to kind of run out of some ideas because I have another project in mind. So I know I'm wanting to save some pieces for that. So for Connor on the left-hand side there, we're going to set him aside for a second and not embellish too much there. But I am going to pull the stamp set back out and add another phrase to one of these label pieces. And this is a great way to do a project like this, is with an entire collection like this. It makes it so easy because everything matches and coordinates, and you don't really need to bring in much from your stash to create a little mini album like this. I am pulling out some of the mini wide paper clips. This is, I think, one of the copper colored ones just to add to that photo. That way it has some embellishment. I thought about using these puffy stickers, but the colors weren't quite right with the photos. And so I'm just going to set those aside. I didn't want to get too crazy with the embellishments. Like I said, I want it to, be reasonably easy to open and close when it's finished. I'm having to make sure I stick everything down, press everything down. That way it stays over time. And then we can start working on the little journaling spots. So I'm just trying to see what I need to cut these down to. These are the journaling cards that are 3x4 size. I figured out that I needed to cut them about 1/4 of an inch off of each edge. That way they would fit in the pockets that I had created. And then the nice thing about the Felicity Jane journaling cards is they are just neutral on the back. They're either a gray dot grid or line grid. And so I just took these over to my typewriter and typed out just some journaling about the day. We didn't catch many fish. The last time we were up there, we all limited out. This time we didn't catch very many, but I caught my biggest trout of my entire life. Super exciting. So I definitely wanted to journal that. And the boys, they were just like they were making their own fishing poles out of sticks and fishing line and catching little minnows and frogs. And they were taking that and then they were building bows and arrows out of them. It was just neat to see all the kids playing outside. So I journaled about that. This was perfect way to use the ribbon that coordinated with the Amanda kit. So I pulled that out and cut off just a little bit to staple onto the top of these cards to give you something to grab a hold of to pull them out of those pockets. I don't know about you. Is your tiny attacher a brat? My tiny attacher, it seems like every time I go to use it, I got to take it apart, mess around with it because it doesn't want to staple all the way. It drives me bonkers, but I got it to work so I could staple on the ribbon. So now I'm going to move on to working on the embellishment for the front of this mini album. And I pulled out that little camera chipboard piece. I just thought that was super adorable. And then one of the phrases, it says outdoor adventures. I'm obsessed. The fonts in these phrases, the phrases themselves, the mix and match combinations. It's a good stamp set, guys. I think it's sold out though. So sorry for those who didn't get it. It's a good one. So use it if you got it. I went ahead and added the date. I just did July of this year. I didn't feel like I needed to have the specific date. And then before I stick the chipboard piece on, I decided to stick this layered piece on there first, just so I didn't have any issues when I was applying the adhesive. And then I'm kind of getting an idea of how tight I want this belly band. I want it tight enough to hold the booklet closed and to stay on, but not so tight that it's, a pain to get on and off of the album. So I'm going to flip it over, add a little bit of double-sided adhesive to one flap here. And again, all of this was created with that digital cut file. So if you don't have a digital, cutting machine, you might be able to do this with, just hand cutting and different punches and things like that. But the die cutting machine really helps with a project like this. So now I'm just showing you the finished project, all those photos there. That little flip up piece can stick the journaling in and out of those pockets. And, I wasn't able to document, 20 photos, but definitely the few that I had from the day. So this was perfect. I had a lot of questions about how I store these. These usually just go in a little basket in my office or out on a table in my living room so people can flip through them. And that is going to be it. So if you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave those down below. Check out the description box for links to everything, including the link to the blog post over at Felicity Jane. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.